Hello everybody, a very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to another video tutorial from this channel, that is about the health and disease, that is another protozoan disease, that is amoebasis. Okay. In the previous video we have discussed about malaria and life cycle of malaria parasite in detail, and we will be discussing about Entamoeba histolytica in amoebasis. Okay, let's start. The amoebasis is caused by another protozoan parasite, that is Entamoeba histolytica. Entamoeba histolytica. It is believed to cause amoebasis or amoebic dysentery. The parasite is monogenetic in nature, but in case of malaria, Plasmodium is digenetic. We have already studied it. It is monogenetic. A single host is sufficient to complete its life cycle. Okay. The pathogenic nature of this parasite, it was discovered during 1873. 1873, the pathogenicity nature was discovered by Lusk. Lusk described the pathogenic ability, and the detailed structure of Entamoeba was discovered during after that by Lumley. Lumley discovered Entamoeba histolytica. Okay, this is about the historical aspect of Entamoeba histolytica. It belongs to phylum Protozoa and pathogenic. It is one of the pathogenic protozoa. Okay. It is mostly found in male than female. Intestine, large intestine of male than female. Okay. The infective stage of this parasite is tetranucleated cystic form. Tetranucleated cystic form. First of all, we will discuss detail about the structure of Entamoeba, then we will go. Let's discuss about the structure of Entamoeba histolytica in detail. First, we have to discuss the structure of feeding stage and pre-cystic stage. Okay, just to erase it. The variation, structural variation is seen in both these forms. Why? When the feeding stage or trophozoid stage is taken, it shows that the Entamoeba shows irregularities in its outer covering. The outer covering is called as plasmalemma. It is plasmalemma. Okay. Below the plasmalemma, there is a small agranular layer which is called as ectoplasm. Like all other protozoa, it is found ectoplasm. Below the ectoplasm, there is endoplasm. Okay. Ectoplasm, there is endoplasm. The body surface consists of these are pseudopodia. Pseudopodia. Like amoeba, it also consists of pseudopodia. At the center, there is a nucleus. The center of the nucleus carries endosome. Around the endosome, the chromatin are arranged. These are chromatin. Okay, chromatin and endosomes are found. Except that there are numerous vacuoles. These are food vacuoles found in it. Okay, this is the feeding stage, or it is called as trophozoid form. What are the difference in pre-cystic form? The pre-cystic forms are simply looks like spherical. Pre-cystic form, these are mostly spherical in nature. If we describe it, or it is viewed under microscope, the outer covering is plasmalemma, another color, plasmalemma. Below the plasmalemma there is ectoplasm. This is ectoplasm, this is endoplasm. Below ectoplasm, endoplasm is present. There is a nucleus at the center, and in this stage there are exceptional bodies, cylindrical bodies called as chromatoid bodies. These chromatoid bodies are responsible for formation of cyst. All other structures are similar, no vacuoles are found because it is not a feeding stage. Everything is similar. This is the nucleus, this is the nucleus of it. These are chromatoid bodies. Okay, the chromatoid bodies help in the process of formation of cyst. So it is the feeding stage, it is the lumen dwelling form, or it is called as minuta form, it is magna form. Trophozoid form is magna form. Then come to mode of infection and its life cycle. Okay, the infective stage here is tetranucleated cystic form, and the common pathway of transmission is fecal-oral route. That means it is released out of the patient through feces and enter into body of another individual through oral passage by contamination. So it is called as fecal-oral transmission. The infective stage is tetranucleated cystic form. It is the cystic form. 4 nucleus are found, so it is tetranucleated cystic form. Okay, this is the infective stage of Entamoeba histolytica. How it is transmitted? I have told you, through fecal-oral route. By sexual contact it is also transmitted, or sometimes it is transmitted with the help of flies, cockroach, some other insects. Okay, the transmission mainly takes place by contaminated food, water, sometimes uncooked vegetables. So we are taking green vegetables without properly washing them, they also transmit it. Okay, so what happened, when these are transmitted, they enter into stomach. No effect of acid because there is a cyst around it, so directly it reaches the intestine of human intestine. At intestine, when the enzyme trypsin come in its contact, what happened? The outer cyst wall get dissolved. The individual tetranucleated form come out. Okay. At this region, it started again in the intestine. it started dividing by binary fission. So the nuclear division takes place, followed by division of cytoplasm, followed by division of cytoplasm. So a large number of individuals are formed, more number of individuals are formed. Out of these individuals, some remain inside the intestine, lumen of intestine, some invade into the tissue. Suppose this invade, it remain in the lumen, it started feeding bacteria, it started feeding bacteria, and it is non-pathogenic. It do not cause any type of pathogenic symptoms in our body. This is called as Minuta form, Minuta. Some other from it, they invade into, suppose it invade into tissue, dwells in tissue. That means tissue dwelling form. It is called as Magna form. These are very dangerous. They produces the pathogenic symptoms in body of human. When it enter into the tissue, it feeds mucus and blood, which released through feces. Okay, these are released through feces, causing amoebic dysentery. Okay, so what happened to Minuta form then? This Minuta form, after feeding bacteria, it started producing cyst around it. It secretes cyst. It produces cyst, and the nucleus divide to produce binucleate cyst, binucleated stage. It again divide to produce tetranucleated form. This tetranucleated form, as usual, through contamination enter into the intestine again. So the fresh infection is due to lumen dwelling form, and tissue dwelling form produces various type of pathogenic symptoms in our body. So the mode of infection is always by means of contamination. The contamination help in spreading contaminated water, contaminated food, vegetable, flies, it help in transmission. So what are the common symptoms for it? If we see, it shows abdominal pain, the first symptom, primary symptom. Sometimes it affects liver, spleen, and various other vital organs of the body. Okay. So how it can be prevented? It can be prevented by maintenance of proper sanitary condition. Hands should be washed before taking food. Nails should be completely thoroughly removed from the hand. Then drinking water should be boiled always, because the spores remain, the cystic stage remain in it. The drugs like metronidazole, tinidazole, these are used. Hexylresuscitanol, these are used. Sometimes imetin, interquinol are also effective against it. So this is all about the prevention. The measure is the human waste should be properly disposed. It is the major prevention. So these are the prevention and symptoms and prevention of this amoebasis. So it is all about for today. Today's class we have already discussed about amoebasis completely. Try to go through it, and thank you all, and I again welcome you all for the for watching this video completely. Thank you all.